Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're cracking open the playbook of one of the world's most talked about innovators. We're going to dive deep into Elon Musk's framework for how to make a real, significant, and positive impact on the world. So, let's kick things off with a big question, one that a lot of us probably think about. How can you actually contribute something meaningful? Not just be successful, but be useful. Okay, let's get into it. Musk's whole philosophy, and this is really key. It doesn't start with some crazy, complicated master plan. Nope. It starts with a simple, foundational goal that really anyone can aim for. This right here, this is the heart of it all. It comes from his conversation with Lex Fridman, and it's basically the ultimate test for anything you do. Are you contributing more than you're taking away? This simple question is the why behind everything else. So what does that really mean? It boils down to this one idea, a positive net contribution. You can think of it like a balance sheet for your life. The goal is to make sure you're putting more into the world than you're taking out. That becomes the North Star for this whole approach. So how do you even begin to figure out how to be useful? Well, you can't just wing it. First, you have to build the right intellectual toolkit. Think of it as creating a mental operating system that's built for innovation. The very first piece of advice from Musk, it's simple. Become an information engine. Just ingest as much as you possibly can. I mean, as a kid, he was known for reading for more than 10 hours a day, and not just one thing, but everything from sci-fi to engineering manuals. And the idea here isn't just to become an expert in one tiny area. It's about reading broadly, so you can get a feel for the entire knowledge landscape. When you do that, you start to see connections that other people miss, and you can find that sweet spot, that perfect overlap between what you're naturally good at and what you're genuinely interested in. Okay, but here's the thing. Just soaking up all that information, that's only half the battle. The real magic, the real breakthrough happens when you start to challenge it, when you refuse to just accept the way things have always been done, and you actually start to think for yourself. And that brings us to his secret weapon, really. First principles thinking. Instead of just looking at what other people have done and trying to make it a little better, he breaks a problem down to its most basic, fundamental truths, the physics of it. And then, from that clean slate, he builds a totally new solution from the ground up. All right, so you've got the mental toolkit down. But look, ideas are great, but they're pretty much useless without execution, right? Once you've sharpened your mind, you need a seriously powerful engine to bring those ideas into the real world. For Musk, that engine is just an insane work ethic. And when we talk about action with Musk, we're talking about a whole other level. He's famous for pushing for 80, even 100-hour work weeks. And the goal isn't just to look busy. It's about one thing, dramatically speeding up the pace of innovation. And here's the logic behind it, and it's pretty staggering. If you're working 100 hours a week and your competitor is working 40, you will achieve in about 4 months what takes them an entire year. You're basically compressing time. It's a brute force advantage. So what fuels that kind of insane drive? Well, it's this belief right here. It's a deep-seated persistence, a conviction that if you're working on something that's truly important for humanity, you have to go for it, even when, and maybe especially when, the odds seem stacked against you. He's also got some pretty specific advice on when to take these massive leaps. He argues that the best time to go all in on a bold project is when you're young. Why? Because you've got fewer obligations. No mortgage, maybe no family yet. You simply have less to lose, which gives you the freedom to take huge risks. Okay, so you've got a sharp mind, you're working like a machine, but where are you pointing all that energy? That's where these accelerants come in. You need to have the right mission and, crucially, the right people on board. And a huge part of this is learning to focus on what he calls signal over noise. What that means is you have to be relentless about working on things that actually make the product better. You have to tune out all the noise, things like chasing awards or status or fancy office perks, and just focus on the signal that creates real, tangible value. So at the end of the day, it's really about two things coming together. First, you pick a mission that actually matters, a problem that, if you solved it, would make a real difference. And second, you find a crew of incredibly smart, driven, and positive people to solve it with you. Because a company really is just that, a group of people trying to create something great. All right, now for the final piece of the puzzle, the one big idea that ties everything we've talked about together. This is the capstone of his whole framework, a powerful philosophy about how value is created in the first place. According to Musk, there's this huge trap that a lot of really smart people fall into, sometimes without even realizing it. They view the world through a zero-sum lens. And you can see the critical difference right here. With a zero-sum mindset, you think the economic pie is a fixed size. The only way for you to get a bigger slice is to take it from someone else. But with a grow the pie mindset, you realize that the pie isn't fixed at all. You can actually create new value, making the whole pie bigger for everyone. The game shifts from taking to creating. And just like that, we're right back where we started. It all comes back to that foundational idea of a positive net contribution. Real, lasting impact isn't about fighting for a bigger slice of the existing pie. It's about getting in the kitchen and baking a much, much bigger one. So, that's the framework. And it leaves us with a really important question, not for him, but for you. Armed with these principles, what value are you going to create? What problem will you solve? In other words, what will you build to grow the pie?